Now at 10, a Joplin nonprofit turns to the community for answers about the city's public transportation. Plus, students at Parsons High School build a Humvee to raise funds for a veterans memorial. And an Oklahoma State trooper has an all-too-close encounter during a traffic stop.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
This is KOAM News at 10. I'm Tanya Bach. Authorities in St. Louis arrest 3 men suspected in the murder of an Independence, Kansas man. U.S. Marshals and St. Louis County Sheriff's deputies today arrested 37-year-old Kevin Quinn, 20-year-old Aquan Quinn, and 23-year-old Kevin Martin. Authorities say those 3 are involved in the death of Jason York back in October of last year in Independence. They all face charges of first-degree murder and aggravated robbery. Chief Meteorologist Doug Hetty joins us with a first look at weather.
Well, it definitely turned out to be another nice one for us today. Temperatures near 70 during the afternoon. 69 was our high, started at 50, which is almost our average high for this time of the year. And it looks good now. 46 Stockton, 51 in Neosho, Miami at 54. Pittsburgh is sitting at 50. We're going to slide back through the 40s into the upper 30s later on tonight. It's not as windy as what we had earlier, but these winds will start to get going once again for us tomorrow. All right, few little clouds shooting through. Besides that, thunderstorms rotating away from us, so we're going to be pretty quiet as we go through the next few days. Temperatures, great ones stick around. It is going to be windy. The weekend looks pretty good. We're going to look at all of this coming up here in just a bit.
All right, thanks, Doug. AT&T says its customers have their wireless service back after an outage knocked out cell phone service across the U.S. late this evening. The company announced the cause of the disruption was a technical error. Bradley Blackburn has the latest.
This is what happened when tens of thousands of AT&T customers tried to make a phone call Thursday.
I see an SOS. Now I can't even use my GPS, my music, call my wife, tell her where I'm going to be.
Users reported widespread problems from Chicago to Dallas, Boston to Los Angeles. For many, it was an annoyance or inconvenience. But AT&T also operates FirstNet, a communication network used by first responders like police officers.
So our in-car computers are being affected by the AT&T outage. We can't transmit, we can't receive certain messages, and that is impacting our patrol operations today.
Pago County 911, what's the address of your emergency?
Simultaneously, emergency call centers were inundated with 911 calls from customers testing their phones.
Please don't call 911 to verify if your phone works if you don't have an emergency.
AT&T says service for all customers has been restored and explained late Thursday the outage stemmed from a technical error that occurred while it was expanding its network. The FCC is looking into the disruption, and the FBI says if it learns of any malicious activity, the agency will respond accordingly. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
The CDC says nearly 3/4 of adults live in households without a landline. Emergency readiness experts recommend if you lose your wireless connection, try to connect to Wi-Fi and have an emergency communications plan in place with your family and neighbors. One Joplin is a nonprofit organization conducting a survey to gauge how many Joplin residents need public transportation. They plan on sharing the results with local organizations. All Joplin residents are encouraged to take the survey. And One Joplin says the more feedback they receive, they hope to catch the ears of the City Council.
Because this information will be used by multiple entities. So we plan to take this survey results to City Council, but also Economic Security with their CARS program is going to be using the data. So we have lots of different entities that will be utilizing this. But the biggest thing is we want to make sure that we're giving everybody the opportunity to complete this.
To take the survey, you can go online to KOAMnewsnow.com. The survey concludes April 1st. Well, a project 20 years in the making will now be used to raise money for a veterans memorial in Parsons. Bruce Ray is a Parsons High School technical teacher, and since 2004, he's been working with his students to create a 3/4 scale military Humvee. Since its completion, Ray has been trying to find the perfect use for it. And now he has one. Humvee has been donated to help raise funds for the Pathways of Freedom Veterans Memorial in Parsons.
I can't say enough for Bruce and his classroom. You know, they've put, you know, what I say, their heart and soul into it, you know, and when this is done, it'll be because of them.
Bruce Ray says 13 manufacturers in Southeast Kansas supported the Humvee project, including Magnum Systems and Neodeshe Plastics. An Oklahoma State trooper had a pretty rough weekend when a driver hit his patrol car during a traffic stop. What made things worse, he's had his car hit 6 times. Jason Berger spoke to the trooper about the incidents.
It's up to you. Stay in the car.
Trooper Russell Calicote's dash camera was rolling when a driver slammed into his squad car. It was a traffic stop on I-44 near Sheridan over the weekend.
Just east of Sheridan. My car just got hit again.
Struck the back of my patrol car, I'm going to say approximately between 60, 65 miles per hour.
Trooper Calicote says there was a strong smell of alcohol when he approached that driver. Now, you may wonder why he seems so calm in all of this. That's because it's not the first time this has happened.
What I would tell people, I mean, on a personal note, stop hitting me.
It's not the second time or even the third time.
In some aspect, hit me or my patrol cars. I think I'm up to approximately around 6 times.
Before the collision on Saturday, the trooper says he was hit by another driver in April last year. KOCO aired these pictures from that crash. It happened in the Tulsa area.
A young female was texting on her phone and drifted off in the shoulder and slammed into the back of my patrol car while I was in it.
And before that incident,
I had just arrested a drunk driver, and another drunk driver slammed into the back of my patrol car again.
But just a few months ago, new legislation was passed to try to stop these collisions, whether they involve troopers, officers, or anyone else.
Before November, if you got pulled over for failure to move over or slow down for an emergency vehicle on the side of the road, it was a $249 fine. As of November, they raised it up to a $1,000 fine.
Wow, I'm glad he's okay. Well, amazingly, Calicote is not currently dealing with any medical issues from any of those 6 collisions. Well, later in sports, high school hardwood playoffs in Oklahoma. John has highlights from the big matchups of the night in just a few minutes. But first, a Carl Junction, Missouri woman makes history as she prepares for the Miss Universal Nationals.
Family member in need of.
A Carl Junction resident is the first person to compete in Miss Universal Nationals with a physical disability. Tabitha McArt Forcier was crowned Miss Universal Missouri last weekend. And there she also won the People's Choice Award. KOM's Fernanda Silva has her story.
I know I've inspired other girls that have disabilities to come onto stage and do pageants as well.
To inspire. This is one of Tabitha's McCart Forcier's mission in life.
How does it feel for you to be in that position of inspiring other girls?
Definitely amazing.
That doesn't mean she sometimes doesn't get nervous.
With nationals, I was definitely a little afraid to be on stage with 50 plus other girls that were bigger and taller and didn't have a disability like me.
But fear was never a reason to stop.
I don't allow it to affect me. I do normal things.
One of the biggest lessons for me was that I had to treat her like she was normal. And when I treated her as normal as I could, she was normal. Sometimes I think I did too good of a job because I can't keep track of her sometimes. She's just off and going.
With the school, work, pageantry, and her nonprofit to take care of, even Tabitha needs to find strategies to keep track of all of her responsibilities.
Definitely a challenge, I would have to say. When I competed at state last week, I was doing homework as well. So it's definitely a balance to know where you need to be, what you're doing.
But Tabitha learned to be responsible and strong at a young age. When she was 2, she was diagnosed with bronchomalacia.
My lungs didn't grow properly, so I spent 6 months in the pediatric intensive care unit. I'm on a ventilator 16 to 18 hours a day to help me breathe.
She almost didn't make it several times. We almost lost her a few times. People never asked. They would just look at us and they would sometimes comment about it like we weren't really there. And sometimes it would really hurt our feelings.
Now, Wilda says they've learned to be louder than the bad comments.
You will hear me the loudest in the audience, guaranteed. I don't hide that I'm very proud of her.
In Joplin, Fernanda Silva, KOAM News.
Now, Tabitha will go to nationals in June in Florida, and this will be her second time competing at the national level. Of course, we wish her the best. Well, the U.S. will experience a total solar eclipse this spring on April 8th. While the path of totality won't pass across many states, southeastern Oklahoma will fall directly in its path. The path of totality is expected to completely cover McCurtain County. We're going to have information and advice on KOAMNewsNow.com if you plan to make the trip for the occasion. A little later, the FDA issues a warning to people using smartwatches to track their blood sugar levels.
Plus, the mild temperatures sticking around into the weekend. We're going to look at that coming up. Well, of course, it turned out to be another great one for us today. Temperature is fantastic as we went back into the upper 60s for highs, but this has been pretty typical for us for the month of February. January was a cold month, but February, 17 out of 22 days have been above average, only 5 days below average, and all week long we've been above average, dating back to Sunday at 52, yesterday all the way up to 74 degrees. All right, looks good outside. We have pretty much clear skies. Here's a nice shot. This is Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. Of course, Indigo is just outside of Seneca, Missouri. All right, temps earlier for us today. Look at this. Everybody warmed up. Upper 60s. We had 70s, northeastern parts of Oklahoma. We've dropped off a bit, but still not bad. It's 46 in Stockton. We have 51 in Neosho, Afton at 55. Parsons is sitting at 49. 7th and Rangeline also looks pretty good. Temperature sitting at 50 degrees. All right, the winds a little breezy for us today. They have calmed down a bit and will continue to do so throughout the overnight hours for us tonight. But our gusts, they're going to start to pick up once again for us tomorrow. We're going to have northwesterly winds kind of gusting 25-ish miles per hour. They calm down on Saturday until late Saturday. Southerly winds start to pick up. So by Sunday, it's also going to be on the windy side. Not too much going on. Few little clouds kind of skirting through. Besides that, we look pretty good. All of those thunderstorms with the system we had last night rotating off toward the south and to the east. And if you look from us all the way west, not a whole bunch going on. That means we have pretty nice weather intact for us over the next several days. A couple weak little waves that will give us some clouds. Besides that, we look okay. All right, by morning, we sit into the upper 30s to near 40 degrees. Clear skies. As we go through the morning hours, we warm near 60 by noon. Once we get into the afternoon, not bad. A little cooler than today, but still good. 62 in Lamar, Anderson, 63, 66 in Miami, much of the same in Parsons. Tomorrow night, a little bit cooler or colder. We drop into the mid-30s. Then once we go into Saturday afternoon, right back up into lower 60s for highs. So your Friday planner, 41 to start, 59 by noon. High temp, 64 degrees. Great weather sticks into the weekend. In fact, by Sunday, we warm into lower 70s. So Sunday is going to be a really nice day. Monday, much of the same. We get some clouds, but we're back into the 70s for highs. Stronger storm system develops late Tuesday. We're going to have showers, maybe even thunderstorms rotating out, and then colder air works in behind it. So we'll keep our eyes on that system as we go through the next several days. 64s. Next couple days, 72 on Sunday, and then 76 on Monday, 78 on Tuesday, with those rain chances starting to increase.
But all in all, just enjoy this February weather we've been having.
Yeah, it looks great.
Could be like the deep cellar we were in January, and it's not.
Thankfully, it's not.
Yes. All right. Thanks, Doug. Well, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration issues a warning about the risk of using certain smartwatches and smart rings to measure your blood sugar. Yesterday, the FDA said it has not authorized or approved the devices intended to measure blood glucose levels on their own. The agency warns the use of smartwatches and smart rings can lead to inaccurate measurements and errors in diabetes management, which can be life-threatening. According to research published today in the journal JAMA Psychiatry, maternal mental illness is the leading cause of pregnancy-related deaths in the U.S. Despite that finding, national initiatives developed to combat the issue often fail to prioritize mental health. It found the maternal mortality rate in the U.S. is 2 to 3 times greater than in other high-income countries and has only increased in recent years. The researchers found mental health disorders like suicide and opioid overdose are responsible for nearly 1 in 4 of those deaths. And a new study finds 42% of adults in the U.S. know at least one person who has died from a drug overdose. That's according to nonprofit research institute RAND Corporation, which surveyed more than 2,000 people. Among the 42% who know someone who overdosed, they knew an average of 2 people who have died. Experts say one reason overdosing is such a problem is because of fentanyl. Narcan nasal spray can reverse an overdose that is caught before it kills. Still ahead, Missouri Southern and Pitt State basketball hit the road. And Fairland and Wyandotte boys basketball meet in the regional semifinals. John Dales has those stories and more up next in sports.
Hey, and welcome into another Thunder Thursday. After an 8-day rest during the NBA All-Star break, OKC returns to its home floor tonight. The Thunder host the Clippers this evening, and in the meeting of 2 of the top teams in the West, OKC wins big. Final score 129-107. That's the 5th win in a row for the Thunder at Paycom Center. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander leads the way. He scores 31 points, and OKC is in 2nd place in the West with a 1.5 game lead on everyone behind them. Tomorrow, Thunder Friday nights return to our network of KOAM stations. You can catch OKC play the Wizards at Paycom Center and catch all the action on the 4 States CW. Things get started with pregame coverage at 6:30. Then tip-off is at 7 as the Thunder go for their 6th consecutive win on their home floor. Over to Oklahoma high school basketball. Playoffs continue this evening in Fairland. 2 of our local teams will punch their tickets to the next round. Good matchup here. Afton Lady Eagles facing the Wyandotte Lady Bears in a regional semifinal. Early in the contest, Afton gets on the board first. Delaney Johnson goes deep for 3, gets it to go. Later in the first, Johnson gets the layup. She scores the first 5 points of the game for Afton. Wyandotte starts to get hot in the second quarter. Amanda Stevens, nothing but net from 3. Lady Bears lead by 8 at half. Fast forward to the fourth quarter, Lindy Mikesell gets the steal, then gets the layup on the other end to tie the game. Now here she is again. Mikesell with the steal, and she finishes another layup. Afton with a 1-point lead, 1 minute to go. Lady Bears look to respond. Amanda Stevens, clutch bucket right here to give the Bears the lead right back. Then with 6 seconds left, Wyandotte up by 3. Mikesell tries to tie the game at the buzzer, but Brindley Collins gets the block. That'll do it. Wyandotte wins a thriller, 38-35. The Bears advance to the regional championship and secure a spot in the area playoffs. Next up, the boys' game. The host team Fairland in action against the visiting Wyandotte Bears. Opening minutes of the game, Markeen Webb comes down the court and finishes the layup strong. A few possessions later, it's Webb again getting loose on the open court. That'll lead to another easy layup. Owls take a 4-point lead, but Wyandotte could really shoot the ball well in this game. Jace Fent knocks down a big 3-pointer here. On the other end, Fairland's Kaysen Renfro fires away. He hits a big 3. The Owls start to pick up the offense just before halftime. Carson Schertz goes up strong in the paint. That bucket's good. Then it's Schertz again, taking it himself. Beautiful finger roll finish. Fairland wins convincingly, 68-45. The Owls advance to the regional final, and they lock up a spot at area. Both of our local D2 colleges have road basketball games tonight. Missouri Southern's at Nebraska Kearney. Pitt State visits Fort Hays State. Starting on the women's side, Missouri Southern snaps a 2-game losing skid. The Lions take down the Lopers 86-75. Bristlin Jones scores 23. Different story for the Gorillas. They fall by 12 to the Tigers. Harper Schreiner scores a season-high 18 in a losing effort. Corinna Gerber has her 3rd straight double-double. On the men's side, 2 wins for our teams. Starting with Missouri Southern, the Lions take care of business at Nebraska Kearney, winning by 18. Meanwhile, Pitt State, big upset. The Gorillas beat the number 14 team in the country, Fort Hays State. That completes the season sweep over the Tigers. And Pitt State men's basketball has handed 2 losses to Fort Hays State. That's 2 of their 6 losses on the whole year. So they have really had their number.
I was actually surprised to see that the Pitt State women's team had actually lost tonight.
No, they've been good this year, but a very good team they played, Fort Hays State.
All right, thanks, John. That's a look at sports. We're back with more news after this. Oops, should have told Doug to come join us earlier. Let's kick it off with a final sports note.
Yeah, we've had a few wrestlers that take home state championships tonight from Seneca, Andrew Manley and Isabella Renfro, and then Faith James from Cassville also takes home the state title.
That is awesome. Very awesome. All right. Sorry about that, Doug.
Yeah, kind of chilly for us tonight. We're going to drop back into the upper 30s. 64s Friday, Saturday, 70s rolling in on Sunday and Monday. Rain chances by next Tuesday.
All right. Well, we'll probably need the rain by then.
Yeah, we do.
All right. Well, thank you for watching. Have a great evening and an even better tomorrow.